I would say that my 2017 council resolution is to re-energize our economic development efforts. We have a lot of things going on right now. We did the groundbreaking for the Chauncey just recently. The project at Court and Lynn is on its way up. We've had Big Grove is coming in down on South Gilbert Street. We've got a big apartment condo complex on South Riverside Drive. A lot of projects going, but those are things that have been in the pipeline for 2 or 3 years. It takes a while to get things started. And what has been noticeable in 2016, which is worrisome, is that pipeline seems to have dried up at the moment. And because it does take 2 or 3 years sometimes to really bring projects to fruition, it's really important that we get some things back in that pipeline. That economic development is critically important for our budget in terms of increasing our tax base and allowing us to fund things such as the senior center or affordable housing or parks and rec or even our public safety like fire and police. So for me, the biggest thing is re-energizing our economic development efforts for 2017.
Basically we had our strategic plan that happened about a year ago where we discussed a lot of different points, and one of those big points was advancing social justice and racial equity. And so in 2017, I know it's coming up in February, we'll be looking at reducing disproportionality overall from a arrest standpoint. I'm really interested in doing that. I think from a council perspective, we've really pushed the agenda. From a city staff and police department perspective, we really pushed the agenda. And so to see that being not only at the forefront of our minds, but also looking at a potential goal for reducing disproportionality, I think is a huge achievement if we can make that goal something that we can achieve.
Well, some key things are to really fulfill all the ambitions expressed in our Affordable Housing Action Plan. We also have all sorts of priorities having to do with racial equity. We'll follow through on those. The new initiative, though, which I'm pretty excited about, has to do with our carbon emission reduction plan, which is related to climate change mitigation and adaptation. We finally have that fully underway. In our last meeting, we adopted a goal for carbon emission reductions. We've undertaken the steps required to hire a consultant to help us devise that plan. We're also going to appoint an advisory committee, a community-based advisory committee, to help us figure out how to do it in a way that fits with our community. And I'm very excited about that. It's an important initiative, and it will get a lot of attention as it begins unfolding.
The first thing I really wanted to talk about was collaborative economic growth. I think everyone agrees that we want economic growth. The question facing our community is how we do that economic growth. My view is that resident participation is essential, especially where we're going to have possible controversy or anything else. The public should have a right to participate, to make sure that not only do we get the economic growth, but we get good dynamic growth that also is sensitive to the neighbor's needs. There's a project called Forest View, which I'm really excited about. I think it really has the potential to show that social justice and economic growth are not an either-or phenomena. We've seen a really good participation on the part of the residents. The residents have had input with the city, with the developer, and so really excited in 2017. I'm hoping we're going to get a project that's going to be a multi-million-dollar project that won't displace the residents, hopefully, but will allow them better living conditions, more opportunity, and a stake in the economic development in that area. And so we had a project that had potential for some problems, but I think I'm really excited to see what it's going to look like.
My resolution for 2017 falls under the umbrella of a Better Neighborhoods initiative, which covers a number of issues. The first issue that it brings to mind would be the question of safety. And one of the issues that the community has been addressing over the last number of years is the disproportionate contact that our minority community has with the police department. We have a new police chief now. I'm looking forward as a council member to be working with the police chief to see how we can bring our disproportionate contact percentages down significantly. Another issue with regard to safety that I'm interested in is traffic safety. And I want to make sure that as a community, our neighborhoods are safe in terms of getting to and from school, to and from our neighborhood parks, as well as just as you move about Iowa City. So this is something that I personally have been addressing as a council member over the past year, how can we calm traffic and get a better balance of walking, bicycling, and transit, reduce our use of and dependence on the automobile. But if we don't have safe routes around the community, that's going to be difficult to do. So that's something that I'll be promoting as well.
My New Year's resolution for next year, this being my last year on the council, I'm the last of the homegrown city councilors, and only one born and raised in Iowa City. I would like to see this council be a little warmer toward the business community and the development. It's been this last 3 or 4 months we've had really nothing coming forward, and I would really like to see us start growing again, because to get all of our wish list done, we need to continue to grow, not stay stagnant. So that's my New Year's wish.
Well, as a council member, my resolution for 2017 is one that I believe we made great strides towards in 2016, and that is to work together to increase available affordable housing in Iowa City. And so for 2017, I would like to see progress towards achieving the action steps that we actually set last year to help address that problem. We've already adopted 2 of those, and that was the inclusionary zoning and the riverfront crossing, as well as the FUSE program, which is going to be very helpful. And then in October, we of course awarded $500,000 to the Housing Trust Fund, and I'd like to see that be able to be continued. We can't solve the problem overnight, and we're not alone in this. It's a nationwide problem, and with declining federal funds, that makes it even more difficult. But with all the agencies working together that we have here, we have a wonderful opportunity, wonderful wealth of folks that want to achieve that same goal. The Affordable Housing Coalition, the Neighborhood Services, Housing Authority, Housing Trust Fund, and of course the Shelter House. So working together, and then the other goal that I'd like to see a little more progress towards is a buy-in from the community and surrounding communities, North Liberty and Coralville, but also the builders, the developers, and the owners of property, that they would increase the amount of affordable housing available in Iowa City.